Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I got two back, one more time. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, awesome. Okay, today is September the 8th, 2025. The current time is 6:12 p.m. and this is the regular business meeting of the Hardy City Council being held at the Hardy Civic Center, 301 West Main Street in Hardy, Arkansas. This has been called to order. At this time, if you'll please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, we thank you for liberty and justice. We ask your blessings on our meeting tonight. In the name of Christ, we offer this prayer to you. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated.
It's lost, wasn't it? Got lost, didn't it?
I looked around and what was the flag and I saw it. Probably should have got over the
Barry,
Here.
Quintana Dubois,
Here.
Thomas, Clay Thomas, Smith, here, Taylor,
Here.
Kaufman, here, Mayor and myself are present.
Great, so we get 6 to 6 and a quorum duly established. Okay, we have got a set of minutes before us from the August 11th, 2025 regular business meeting. There's no corrections or additions to these minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve them as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Second.
Okay, we've got a first on the floor from Ms. Taylor and a second from Ms. Laura Smith to approve the minutes from August 11th, 2025. We have voice vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion carries. Minutes have been approved. Excellent. We are on to the next spot on our agenda. This is the agenda review and approval. If there's any additions to the agenda, we'll take them at this time.
Need to add one, the Pocket Park Memorandum of Understanding
Okay.
that I passed out to everyone. And then also, we have we'll hear about it in the A&P report, but one of the Commissioner Treat, the tourist-related business his term expires at the end of the month, and A&P has approved to extend his term, and so we'll just be swearing it, willing to council to vote and swear him in. And then I would like to also move Rob Smith for Dr. Thompson Park funding, if we could put that at the top of new business so that they can move on.
So we're adding two things and then readjusting the agenda for Rob Smith.
If that's agreeable with council.
Okay. Civil Engineer Associates have driven a very long ways to be here, so that's why he was on the
Oh,
first.
okay.
You want to move Rob after ordinance 2025-07 to save 5 minutes?
Sure,
Or is it, Rob, do you have a date or something to go on? Can we leave you where you're at?
I'm not a citizen of Hardy, and I'm really not vested in the rest of your conversations. That's just kind of where I'm at. I will not take up more than 15 minutes of your time.
Okay. So, do you want to make a motion to do such for the two items and the adjustment that you're asking for?
Yes, I make a motion that we add Pocket Park Memorandum of Understanding to the agenda, and that we add the swearing in or approval of Commissioner Treat for another term, and to move Rob Smith as high up on the agenda as you can.
Is there a second to that?
I second it.
Okay. We've got a first from Ms. Kaufman and a second from Ms. Taylor. Via voice vote in favor of such, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so please add Pocket Park MOU to your agenda. At this time, just put it on the bottom. and we'll work through this as we can. And then as well, put A&P Commissioner reappointment. So Pocket Park, MOU, and then A&P Commissioner reappointment. And then take you a little line and arrow and take Rob Smith and we'll put him before the engineers tonight. Let him speak first. Is everybody good with that? So Rob Smith, Dr. Park funding will be the first item of new business. Everybody good with that? Okay. And then following after that will be the ordinance, resolution, and we'll work through this, guys. Sound good?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, I've got a motion on the floor from Ms. Clay Thomas to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a second from Ms. Natalie to approve the amended agenda. Via voice vote, all in favor of approving the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, we'll move right into the city financials. If you will, take a gander at your packet, and you can see under the revenue and expenditures, we get the administrative fund, fire, general revenues on the third page, followed by the library department, parks and recreation, and police, and the general fund. All the revenues since through last Thursday have been accounted for under revenues, as well as all the expenses. We have taken the resolution from last month that amended the agenda, and those amendments have been created and put before you in this document. Pump maintenance is there, sanitation, wastewater, water meter, and street. So everything that we discussed last month has been put into that amended budget, and that budget has been created and it's here in front of you today. So we are going through September, October, November, December. We've got 4 months left of the year. And we're about in line as to where we are during this time of the year. Is there any questions on the financial report?
Yes, so we've got, with the rest of the year, it's the proposed expenditures total, added this up, is $474,871.63. There's still, that's still budgeted to the end of the year.
In the general fund?
Well, in all of the budgets, just in total, if you look at what we still have left to spend.
Well, it's available for spending.
It's available for spending. It's been budgeted. The only accounts that we can make any adjustment to, with all the account sheet that has all of the different accounts that the city has, the only ones that we can make any kind of adjustment on, as far as making any cuts or whatever, is just the payroll and capital improvements. Basically, that's the only one where we've got some wiggle room. And what we have in those two left for the year is $307,756. So that leaves us a shortfall of $167,115. So we've budgeted, $475,000, and the only.
Where are you coming up with that number?
It was all of the last, the 105, the year end, what we have left to spend over in the right bold column of all of the different, there's general, all of the different.
Are you talking about the second column from the right that says variance?
Annual budget, yeah, the variance.
Okay.
So that's basically what's left, in that budget, each one of those line items, and then it totals down at the bottom. So if you add up all of those, it's $474,871.63 is what's left in expenditures for from now till the end of the year. So if we were to spend what's budgeted, Even
So,
if, even if we were to
well,
completely deplete general, payroll, and capital improvements, that's $307.756. $307,000, sorry. So what I'm saying is we've got a lot more that we've got budgeted to spend than if we completely wiped out our available funds. We're 167,000 short.
I would really love to sit down and go through each and every number with you, like one-on-one, to see exactly what you're talking about. I'm not discrediting anything you're saying. I would just like to sit down and look and see what you're talking about. And
That's a
know
good
that
idea.
we're in the middle of doing a FEMA reimbursement process, and a lot of those funds are going to be coming back to us, but we have to spend in order to get back anything. So this budget is just not going to be very clean for the next couple of months. Just being honest with you, it's a process of these projects. I don't know what you would like for me to say, other than if we want to put the city back together, we've got to spend some things to get some money back.
No, and I completely understand that, but I think I had made a motion, or I had voiced at our last meeting before that when you proposed for the, to pass the budget, we had the CD that we had that was cashed in.
Immature.
But it was never, the council never even voted.
Well, there was a resolution that was in the budget, and it was in that resolution.
Well, it was in the budget, but you should have told the council, okay, this is what I've done with this CD, with the CD money. Not just stuck it in there and say, okay, here's the budget, hope you, if you figure it out.
Those things if the city council wants me to put the city back together, that money had to be put in the budget somewhere.
I know, but you should have told us. I mean, you're counting
Did you all
on,
not read the resolution and look at the budget when we put all the funds in there? And it
There's not-
said CD carryover lines?
okay, there was not time, honestly, for all of us to go and look through every single line to see, oh, CD carryover.
There wasn't time.
No, there wasn't time. I mean, there really wasn't time. And that was why I said we need another budget workshop and we need to go line by line. But nobody else, saw the necessity of that. But, I think we're in some trouble. Hang on just a second, okay? But there was not, I don't think you were transparent and forthcoming with what you did with the CD money. Because when we were at the last workshop, you were saying we can't make any votes, we can't decide on anything.
In a workshop, yes.
In the workshop. But yet, at the workshop, you were saying, I just need a nod. I just need a nod. You were asking people to basically to vote on something that was not proper. We can't do that.
I didn't take a vote. I asked for y'all's blessing so I could pay a trash
And
bill.
that takes a vote. That requires,
Hey,
I'm
let's
sorry.
bring it back in.
I'm
Let's
sorry,
bring it back in.
that requires a vote. And that meeting
And we
was a
voted
no.
last month with a resolution that approved how to spend those monies so we could do some of our FEMA projects.
And those were
We had
just,
5-1.
those were
Those in
just,
favor.
I know, those were dispersed, in there, but you didn't say, hey guys, I just need you to know or hey guys, I'd like to do this. We've got, the CD is matured. What I'd like to do is I'd like to put this amount in this budget, this amount in this budget, and just keep things above board. I mean, that's,
It was in black and white on a piece of paper in front of this entire public and this council.
He
So I
did
thought
that.
everybody was on the same page.
Let's drop this.
okay, I don't
Move
want to
on.
drop this. I don't-
Well, you were defeated in voting for a budget review last month. You were the only one who voted negative. I love you, my sister, but you're just not right on. We've got about 2 months to go through our new 226 budget. Leave this budget alone. Like he said, we got to spend money to bring money in. I think you're riding this horse too much.
Okay, well, let it be known to the public, to the citizens of Hardee, that I'm voting for transparency. And, I want transparency, and I think you guys deserve to know where your money is being spent and how it's being spent. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. let's
I
move
thought
on.
he did bring it to the council's attention. How would we not know otherwise?
No, it was in the resolution, it was in the budget, but he didn't say, hey, guys, it's in there, if you looked through and you could see on, buried in all of the line items, CD carryover. And it was dispersed in different, in different accounts, in different, departments. And it probably would have been fine to do that, but you need to tell council needs to know exactly what it is that they're voting for. That's a lot of money. It was the only savings that we had.
That's not the correct statement, but okay.
And
This is not correct.
yeah, so that's,
If you look in your budget, there is a line called CD carryover. When the CD fund matured, I don't even know when, because we've been fighting this battle for 3 months. When the CD matured, that money got put into that holding account, those funds sat there, and we had our budget work sessions. We all agreed, mostly, evidently, that we would prepare a resolution with a budget and bring it back, and that's what we did last month. And those funds were put in there to utilize as like a line of credit to ourselves on how we were going to pay for these FEMA projects. We could have left that money there, and we all could have said, let's go to the bank and borrow $500,000 on a line of credit and fix these things, and then get $400,000 of that back and be out $100,000 as our 25% cost share. But we were using cash on hand, available liquid assets, in order to take the projects and pay for them. So instead of just not putting that into the budget and us being out of compliance on the spending, it was put into the budget so we could fix some of these projects. If it wasn't transparent enough for you, I sincerely apologize if I should have gone line by line.
well, not line by line, but that was one thing that you had brought up at the budget, at the workshop. You told us about the CD, that there's a CD that's maturing, and you had asked for permission to spend that money on flood stuff. We could not do it at that meeting because it was not a voting, it was not a voting meeting. The right thing to do would have been to say, okay, guys, at our last meeting, before you handed out the resolution, you should have said, okay, guys, we couldn't vote at the workshop. This is what I've done. I've put this much, I've put 40,000 in general. I've put 25 in pump maintenance. I've put 35 in street fund. All this. Well, I've got a question for you on where it says the CD carryover. On June 30th, the balance was $110, $123.82. And then on 9/4, the balance in that was $121.106. Do you know what happened?
121?
I can answer your question.
Well, I want Willow to answer it. She's the recorder treasurer.
I have to look it up. I haven't been in the office in 2 weeks, so.
So you didn't do this transaction, you haven't been involved in that transaction or anything?
In the original one, yes, but I honestly can't tell you why that number is that. I would have to go to my desk and look at the
We
office.
submitted reimbursements and funding has already come back.
So who's doing the work of the recorder treasurer? Are you doing the work of the recorder treasurer?
I do some
I
of
do
it,
it.
she does her job, the city administrator, it's a big
It's
job.
a big job to do.
It takes multiple people doing multiple movements to make this possible.
We're riding this horse to death. Let's get on with our agenda, please. We have
Any
to
other
take
questions as it pertains to the financials of this time? We're going to move on to the fire department report. Chief Moore, are you here?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
So we had kind of a busy month in August. We had 41 goals. I don't know if y'all saw us racing around out there. We had a total of 4 fires. had a total of 4 fires. 3 of them were building fires. One was a woods fire. I kind of cleaned up my form a little bit. It looks a little different. I put all my medical calls and our car wrecks all in one column. So we had 22 medical emergencies, whether it be wrecks or medical calls. Service calls, we had 7 of them. Those would be listed as lift assist, non-emergency calls, will help somebody up out of the floor. 7 good intent calls, that'd be traffic control. And 1 false alarm all month. For the total calls of the year, when I made this report, we were at 303. We've had several more calls since then. But at the end of August last year, we had 297. That puts us, from the time I made this, 6 calls ahead. But as of right now, I think we're about 20 calls ahead of where we were when I made this report.
And how about the burn ban?
The burn ban is helping a little bit.
Fire.
Even though we got like 0.9 inches of rain the other night, everybody thinks that was enough to get us out of a burn ban. So we had a fundraiser, Labor Day weekend. We raised, don't hang me on this number, I cannot, $4,500 to $4,700 that we raised. And I believe that should put us in the roundabout place to get a vote.
Awesome.
With the 2 fundraisers we had this year.
Great.
Any questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're doing great. Thanks, Jim. The next report is from the Hardin Police Department.
Good evening. We've had a really good month. Not a whole lot of problems. Had a few crimes that we've committed, that's been committed, that's been taken care of. We did have a very good Republican Lincoln Day meal here at the Civic Center. It all went well, and when protesters crossed the road, there was no problems with that, and everybody was civil. We had a good time. That's all I've got. Anybody got questions?
You did a great job.
Thank you. I tried.
You're doing a very good job, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. The next report will come from the Public Works Department, Superintendent Morris.
I don't really have a whole lot. I know we've only done about 3 or 4 water leaks for the month. We've been having some terrible issues on wastewater side of it. Some long nights, late nights. And finally got most of that put kind of behind us. And done some road work on Slayton where it kind of works its way, it's all fixed. And I think Wednesday evening, going to close the end of Robin Hood down past Jason Jackson's place until Friday. So they want us, when people in that area will have to go out and sharpen and go out to Slate until the concrete cures and stuff. Gonna put most of that road back together, I hope, by the end of the week maybe. But other than that, I don't really got nothing else.
Well, I do. I want to congratulate you and your entire team. I know how hard you work. I've seen you the late nights, 10, 11 o'clock or more. No, you guys are doing an awesome job.
I would second that. Very good.
Yeah, I think we got off like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the
Yeah.
last 6 or 7 days. We even had to work over the holiday a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. But that's all I got. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Y'all did a great job there. On the Planning and Zoning Commission, we met earlier in the evening. We approved 1 building permit for William John's. And we discussed the strategic plan for the city. Planning and Zoning Commission is to take the strategic plan with them and work on them the next few weeks and bring it back to P&Z as we convene back in October. So that is our Planning and Zoning Commission. I've got a report here from the airport. Let me find that. The Sharp County Regional Airport Authority met on September the 3rd. Under their manager's report, they stated that they repaired the mower and that the runway light had had a bad connection but is currently working, and that they are looking at ordering some Jet A fuel and their 100 LL fuel in the near future. And then they are working on getting the perimeter fence put back together. That contracting services should be getting started soon, it says. And then they have some light repair where they replaced some bulbs there, and they are now operational, and they've ordered more bulbs for the remainder of the year to keep in stock. And then this was exciting, they had an FAA notice of award. They're going to be doing a new taxiway project. The cost of the taxiway project is $1,946,000. It'll be paid 100% with grants from the FAA and the State Aeronautics Board. So that's exciting to see, almost a $2 million expansion at our airport. So that's great. The next report comes from Tri-County Solid Waste Disposal Authority. They met August the 20th. They said in their manager's report that they had sent out a load of cardboard that was almost 45,000 pounds, and they were 3/4 of the way on another load. That's how they produce income, is by selling that cardboard material. And it says they're working with Casey's to get set up on all 3 stores in Highland, Harding, and Cave City to pick up their cardboard. So they're working their tails out there, doing as best as they can. It says they're still looking to replace their box truck. They're looking for something affordable, and they'll be purchasing those storage containers once the site is ready for them at the recycling center. They will meet next on September the 17th at 9:30 a.m. if anybody would like to attend that meeting. The next report will come from the Hardy Advertising and Promotion Commission.
Okay, I'd like, asking Jason Jackson to give our report, since most of it has to do with some projects that he's been helping head up.
All right, so first off, we voted to give $1,000 for Thompson Park, for Rob, to do the fall flowers and everything. We lost the lease on the sign out here at the Jackson Field, so we're having to take that down. I know that there is there's another banner there, but we need to get it taken down because we have to have the sign out by the end of the month. So that was the Homesteader banner.
Homesteaders,
Okay.
yeah.
So we need to get the banner moved or put some T-post up on the side of the road or something so that we can actually get the big sign removed and be in compliance with the lease agreement on that part. We've got the MOU to get signed tonight for the pocket park. I believe we've got all of our funding. Lowe's is going to pick up the tab on the material and stuff, so we're just got to get them everything they need. And once we get the MOU, then we can start the project on that. Civic Center, as y'all seen, it's starting to get painted. That's the primer out there, so we've got a final coat being put on it. Lighting will go on the top up here. The fence railings all getting steam cleaned and stained, and the little log house out here, we're going to start working on it. If you went down Main Street, y'all would see there's one new pole there that's got, have a banner on one side, have flower pots on the other. It's got irrigation runs up through there, and we're working with the business owners to tap into their water to supply to keep all the plants watered throughout the year. We're going to be putting some, of course, in front of businesses. They have the sidewalks, but there's one that we were looking to put in front of Thompson Park, and then one in front of the pocket park there too. But like I said, the irrigation would run up. Just want to make sure, do y'all have any, because the city owns the sidewalk there. So if there's any objections to putting that there, then let us know. Other than that, we'll have it start putting the poles up this week. They should have some lighting by the end of the week going down, that'll be spanning across through on the left-hand side of the road, the old incandescent lighting, string lights. So, and so far all the business owners are happy because that's, I think for the Christmas parade, it'll look really nice, but look nice every night, but it'll help shed a little bit of light throughout Main Street. The only other thing we've got is John Treat. The commission voted to renew his vacancy on that, so I believe that is on the agenda for y'all to look at too. Y'all have any questions for us?
Where's the string lights going?
On the left end, the Pocket Park side, about 12 foot up in the air, and they'll span all the way down through Main Street down through there.
Like zigzag or?
No, one solid span all the way down, just one string running down through there. So, yeah, we can't cross over the highway, of course, so we'll stay on the left-hand side above the sidewalk, running down through there. So,
What are you hanging on?
we got 1/8" stainless black cable that'll run through there.
What does it like connect to?
It'll be connected to the poles, in between the poles, and then of course, Energy's got the plug-ins right there. We'll plug into those plugs there. So, y'all have any objections to have y'all seen the poles? It's got the flower pots and the banners. And like I said, the way we're doing it, they got 1/4 inch line that runs up through the sidewalk. We put a little saw cut in it, run the line, and then we seal over that. So, but they'll have automatic timers, and like all business owners have agreed to supply the water, the ones that the poles are going in front of. Is everyone okay with that project?
I'd like to see some specs, to be honest with you.
I mean, I installed one already, but that's it. I mean, in front of Mr. Treat's place. Yeah, it's just I think John may have a picture of it, but it's a 2 and 5 inch pole. Like I said, there's a water line that runs up through the center. On the right-hand side facing the road, there'll be 16 by 32 banner with Hardy, got the logos on it, and then on the left-hand side, the 20-inch pipe. Rob, and what day did y'all say y'all were gonna try to do?
We should have ours.
Okay, Rob then was gonna do the flowers, for the pots and everything, so, and I'll let him tell you what he's gonna put in that, because they're smarter than I am on that part.
And there is ample room, let the, there is ample room for wheelchairs and everything.
Oh, tons, yeah, that was one thing, we checked the ADA compliance, make sure we're 4 inches off the sidewalk, but then we're making sure there's plenty, ADA compliance and all that, there's not any blockage or anything like that. And like, we're also checking with business owners, like if they don't want it in front of their store, then, of course, we're not going to. Other than that, that's it. So we're rocking on, everything's doing good, ready to get the Pocket Park done. I think that's gonna be a good addition for both the city and A&P to knock out, so it'll be a fun project. So, are y'all good with us?
Do you know what the color will be on the front of this building when it's all set up?
It will be, John, what the color? It will be like, it's almost an antique white. It's called
something ivory. Y'all decided on at the meeting.
Yeah,
We decided it's
about
very light cream.
Yeah.
So it's going to have some yellow in it, so it won't show dark, but should still stand out nicely.
Yeah, we were trying to pick the white would clash with the rocks out here, so we were trying to pick a color that matched the course Hardy, but also blend with the.
Something that keeps a little bit of the rusted country look that goes with the fence, that goes with the cabin, but it's not too, but it's definitely like a light cream. That, it's got a little bit of color in it. It should cover dirt well.
Kind of like what the old signs had, our Hardy signs.
Yeah, kind of like that color
Does
actually.
that color?
Lighter than, a little lighter.
It's very
than that.
similar to what's,
On the logo.
well, it's similar to the primer that's,
Yeah, it's
With
just,
the
it'd be
sealer that's
just
on
a
there.
creamier color
So,
on that. The sign will be a real simple sign up here now because we wanted to make sure that we wanted this building to speak for itself instead of the big monster sign that we had. Bring a little bit more elegance to the building for the events that we're having. We have a meeting on Tuesday, the 16th.
yes.
A&P meeting, special meeting. That will be for, we have the mural guy coming in to give us a quote on redoing the Hardy mural that we have. So hopefully that's going to be a project that we can get knocked out. I know we've been talking about it, everyone's been talking about that forever. It's not going to, we'll have to basically redo the wall and then start, he's going to make the mural exact, but it'll be from a blank slate and start over. So we've got, that's going to be the next big project that we're looking at knocking out.
When you say fix the wall, what about the interior, because it was leaking behind all the wall before as well, which one of the issues we had dealt with before with A&B.
Yeah,
Because we had decided at one point they were going to do a frame picture to put up there, and they still couldn't get that done. And
yeah, the frame picture is going to take away, so the mural's actually listed with like U.S. Congress and all
Right.
that, so we want to try to stick to that. If it's,
But it's leaking behind those brick wall, that brick wall.
it just needs a cap on it then if that's the case. Which I told him that I would donate getting the wall prepped, because he said it needs to be painted. He'll have to go in and use a block filler, do a little bit of tuck pointing on it, and if it's leaking behind, that means the cap, there's a metal cap that goes over those, then that means that's leaking, and I'll just have to go over and seal it. We haven't gotten with the owner yet, that's gonna be the next thing, is, secure the owner to sign off, something, giving us permission to knock that out, so. But if anybody wants to be here on Tuesday, the mural guy's a super nice guy, and he's been doing Cersei, Hot Springs, a ton of work, so, but I think he would be a definite asset to bring in to start looking at getting more artsy, and getting the history back to us. So, other than that, I think that's it.
What time is your special meeting?
5:30,
5:30. And where's it at?
be here.
Okay, thank you.
But we definitely welcome everybody for comments on, at the meeting then, so.
If you would check out that brick on the top, it's kind of fallen in, that brick.
At the very top of the wall, yeah, I was saying it's gonna need some tuck pointing for sure.
That's why it got paused last time when they were working on it, was the brick.
Yeah, it was gonna be a big chunk, but we'll donate, my company will donate the tuck pointing and the prep work to get it to that point. So, we'll do the best we can on getting it all ready. And then A&B, we'll look at the funding. And we're working with the Arkansas Heritage Foundation and the Arts Council on getting, some matching grants on that too. So, we're moving right along. I think everything is looking good. So, y'all have anything?
What you're doing to the sidewalks with these posts and everything going to have any impact on the city later when we're improving or looking to improve sidewalks?
The city can't do the sidewalks because they belong to the business owners. So
No, that's not true.
When I tried to write the grant, the state said that it stopped at the curb.
That is not true. I've been in touch with RDOT, and that is not true. The state owns, as I was told, the state owns 25 foot. The sidewalks have been deemed over to second-class cities for the responsibilities of it.
See, they told us that it belonged to the business owners.
I've got a plaque for my property. I do not own that sidewalk. Nobody gave me that sidewalk.
I mean, it'd be awesome if the city owns it, then the city needs to start doing some repair work, but.
Well, what I'm getting at is I went through all this because the city repaired the sidewalk in front of my building where people were falling and getting hurt, okay? And I'm worried about the liability of who owns that sidewalk. Do I own the sidewalk because it's deteriorated and dilapidated, people are falling down? If I own the sidewalk, or if I'm responsible for it, I'm liable for that. Yeah, but that is not the case. I do not own that sidewalk. I am not liable for what happens on that sidewalk.
Well, if the city owns it, then that'd be.
The city does not own it, the state owns it. If you look at the state municipal code, they deem the responsibility of it to second-class cities. This needs to be checked out.
Yeah,
this is tarnished.
When we tried to get the grant before, the state came out and told us no because.
What I'm suggesting is that you probably ought to.
But the poles are just bolted down, there's no, we're not cutting into the sidewalk.
What came into play was like Mountain View, right? redid all their streets. And just like Hardy, everybody has all these roofs in it, my building included, has all these roofs and everything that are supported off of the sidewalk, okay? When they came through and got state money or grant money, okay, all those roofs came down. They did not go back up on the sidewalk. Any roof is now hung off of the building, okay? So that's why I say,
But at that time,
you need to do your homework.
they had to give it over to the business owners had to sign over to the city, didn't they?
No,
So far
that is-
from the front of the
Okay,
building.
Yeah.
if I own the sidewalk, I need somebody to prove that I own the
There is
sidewalk.
not a law, well, there is one lawyer here.
Are they?
We're not gonna solve this tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
Well, no, but I'm saying is,
That would be
need
a
some legal, you need some legal.
Yeah, that would be a state deal. The
Before
poles
you
are,
proceed too much farther, you need some legal advice on this, I would think.
Can we take a pause on your sidewalk planner project for a minute then?
yeah, as long as y'all want to, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just trying to make progress here, so.
No, I don't want it to be futile, you put all this stuff up and we gotta tear it down.
Yeah, it's just 4 bolts is what
I
we're doing,
understand.
so,
I understand.
if it needs to be taken down, we can take it down later, whatever, it's not a big deal. I just know what we were told back then, but I'm not arguing because it.
No, I'm not either, I did my homework.
If the city could be liable for the sidewalk, that'd be awesome, and then they could fix a lot of the damage, But I know when we tried to do it, we wasn't, we were told no. So that would, I would be all for the city fixing everything, because there's definitely some sidewalks down there that are dangerous. So, okay, y'all got anything for us other than? Okay, and I'll check with, or do you want to check with RDOT?
Sounds like Jeff already had, I'd like to see what he has.
Yeah, if we got an email, do you have an email or anything from them, Jeff?
Yeah, I have these.
Okay, and I'll dig up and see, because I may be different people.
I don't personally care, it's the city's responsibility.
Yeah.
I'll worry about my property and my liabilities, but the city needs to worry about their responsibility and their liability.
Yeah, there's some sidewalk damage down there that's really bad, and we were actually, my company was just gonna start taking some chunks out, but if it belongs to the city, then it's a different ballgame.
We should just verify. Before we-
Yeah, I think that would be, before we start doing sidewalk repairs, we'll let y'all get with and find out for sure. If it does belong to the owners, then we was gonna fix a lot of the damage that they could afford to. What's that?
Or if it belongs to the state, like he said.
Yeah,
we need to look at
exactly.
what they allow us to do.
So, yeah, I'm good with it. If the state owns it, then that would be absolutely fantastic.
It wouldn't be the city, it would be the state.
We'll see if we can find out together.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
I'm excited to see all that that's
The next report will be from the mayor's office. I've got just a few things to share. The Labor Day holiday weekend was safe and successful for the city. We had cooler than usual weather for this time of the year, which brought many visitors to the city during this last major push of the summer tourism season. The fall season looks very promising as we prepare the next few weeks with Hardy Homesteaders Day coming up on September the 27th in Loveburg Park. If you would like any more information on that event, please contact Ms. Crystal Grady or another member of the Hardy History Association for more information. I know they're very excited and would like everybody to attend. We are continuing to work through the FEMA process from the April 2025 flooding event. We have site inspections that are occurring this week with FEMA, which is a requirement of the process when requesting the federal assistance. This will be the actual boots on the ground where FEMA will inspect the damages to public property with logging of the exact coordinates and taking photographs of the damages in our parks and to the city's infrastructure. Because there was such a widespread of affected counties in the state, the inspection process has taken a bit longer than what we hoped for, but we are finally and thankfully moving forward with the FEMA inspections in the cities, and that is a very, very good thing. The city held the Fun Park Cleanup Day at the playground area in Loveburg Park on August the 20th for the park's Heritage and Tourism Grant application. We had a wonderful turnout of about 30 volunteers at the Cleanup Day event. I just wanted to thank each and every person for their efforts and for attending this potential grant project. We cleaned up a lot of trash and debris from the area. The park is not put back together, obviously, but this was a very great step in the right direction as we work to seek funding assistance to rebuild the park. So stay tuned, but that was a great day. Thank you for everybody that came and helped clean it up. The Hardy Water Department will be working to repair a leak at the corner of Spring and Main on US Highway 63B this week. I'd just like to ask all the drivers to please be mindful of the Public Works team in the right-of-way as they work to repair the water leak. And obviously, I could not see any of this being done without Steve and Tim and John. So thank you guys very much for working to repair that leak for us. The Sharp County Community Service Group worked in Hardy for 3 days at Buford Beach and Lowburn Park. They were cleaning up the remaining debris from the flood back in August. I'd just like to go ahead and thank Sheriff Russell and Judge Counts and Judge Johnson and the jail administration for allowing the inmates to perform the community service in the city of Hardy. They did a terrific job over the span of those 3 days cleaning up the parks. And a special thank you to Brian Watson for overseeing the successful and safe operations of the inmates. We already said this, the Planning and Zoning Commission met earlier in the night and discussed the strategic plan for the city. The commission will have a plan for the next several weeks to review and make updates to the working document, and then P&Z will come back together to look at the strategic plan in October. Regarding code enforcement, I believe we have some good traction on this development on about October 1 as we get the individual prepared for the big undertaking of the job responsibilities. We had some timing availability to work through, but we were making steps to get the code enforcement position ready for service. This should help us with the cleanup efforts in the city limits. And lastly, the next regular meeting of the city council will fall on the 3rd Monday in the month of October, due to Columbus Day falling on the 2nd Monday of the month. So please go ahead and mark your calendars for October the 20th at 6 p.m. here at the Civic Center. That'll be the 3rd Monday in October due to Columbus Day. And that is all that I have in my mayor's report. We're going to roll into old business, all right, everybody? We have got Resolution 2025-14, which discusses financial statements. And I think the last time we talked, we were going to discuss some amendments or some alterations to this and kind of see what fit in the box better. I will say that we are about 3 months away from preparing a resolution for 2026. It sets the agenda format and everything that goes in the packets. The sponsor of this one is Ms. Natalie. I don't know if we want to do some work for the 2026-01 agenda format, or what you would like to do exactly.
Well, the prepared one, when we got to see all the things, I like how that is, and I do think it would be better to wait
You're talking about this, that was in your packet? Okay.
You turn on your
and
microphone.
take it all at one time instead of having this and another, all the rest of it. Just do it all.
Okay.
So continue this through the end of the year? Okay. Anything else? Okay.
So with that being stated, do we want to make a motion to withdraw that resolution? Is that okay? Okay. You care to do so?
I make a motion to withdraw resolution number 2025-14. So the new budget.
Second.
Be ready. Okay, so we've got a first on the table, withdraw 2025-14, and a second from Ms. Laura Smith to withdraw 2025-14. Be a voice vote, all in favor of doing so, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Would that be the same case for 2025-15, Ms. Howard? Because we can work these things in.
These are the ones she is. So to withdraw resolution number 2025-15.
Okay, so we've got a motion to withdraw 2025-15 from Ms. Natalie.
Second.
Okay, we've got a second from Ms. Laura Smith. Be a voice vote, all in favor of withdrawing 2025-15, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So
Okay.
it's because of in the resolution, she's already adding it to her packets, and then we'll make a whole one with the same with the budget, we'll have it all combined.
So we'll do that on the agenda format, resolution, and get better next year. Is that right? Okay, just put us all on the same page. Thank you so much. Great. Okay, we have reworked our new business agenda. So I believe our first speaker this evening is going to be Rob Smith, and his topic is the Dr. Thompson Park funding. So let's give a big warm round of applause to Rob Smith.
Well, you know I'm here asking for money, so I don't know how much you want to applaud. Just pass them down, please. You got it on your side. That's your eyes. So one. Did everybody get one? I know you're curious. I brought one just for you.
I have an extra.
You got an extra. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank Main Street Hardy for the work that we've done up to this point. They approached me about 7 years ago. I'm going to kind of tilt because I've got like a bad conscience.
Here you go.
Take a mic.
There you go.
So Main Street Hardy approached us about 7 years ago to clean up the park. They gave us $2,000 when we went to work. And we've been doing this for the last 7 years. We're down to a point where you can see on the first page, we've got about a $9,000 budget with Main Street Hardy. They cover our spring planting. That's what you're seeing in the park right now. All the flowers are blooming. That will come out this week. The fall planting will go in. The bulbs will go in for the spring. And we'll start to put the mulch down and we'll get ready for Christmas. At Christmas, we do another $3,000. And we bring the prisoners in. We redecorate. And we put all the trees up with lights and everything. So they've got us handled on this board. Excuse me. What we're looking at now is to kind of take this to the next step. And what we'd like to do is start looking at our different holidays. We're not doing anything for Easter. We have a huge cluster of people that come in. The tulips are there, they're gorgeous. But we'd like to do some extra things for the different things that are coming up. In order to do that, they really don't have the funding for us through Main Street Hardy. So we've approached the A&P and asked them for their help. And just really, as a matter of due diligence, we felt like we needed to approach you also, just so you're aware of what we're doing and what we're trying to concentrate on. What we're seeing with the park right now is it's become a photo op for all the party. You can see it on Facebook, you can see it on Snapchat, it's showing up in different places. But we know what that is, but people in Memphis don't, and people in Chicago don't, and people in St. Louis don't. So what we're going to create at this point are different little photo ops. So when a family sits in front of something and they send that out to all their friends in Mississippi, they're going to say, oh, Hardy, Arkansas, that's where they're at this weekend. We need more of that for the money that we're spending. Obviously, we're doing it for the enjoyment of the citizens of this area, but we're also doing it for a lot bigger reason, and that's to bring people to this area. When people talk about the river, they don't talk about Cherokee Village, they don't talk about Highland, they don't talk about Ash Flat, they talk about Hardy. And that's what we're really concentrating on, getting this park buffed out. So when people are looking at those photos, they know exactly where they're coming to. And it makes it more of a destination type of place as they're coming in. So we're working on those projects. What I've got on the bottom, and this goes beyond what we're doing tonight, I'm not asking you to agree on anything tonight because it takes up way too much of our time. What I would like to make you aware of are some things that I need in order to continue to do what we're doing and to do it a little bit better. So just real quick on here, my wish list basically is I'm going to start a dosing group. This is going to be a group of anywhere from 8 to 10 people. This will become a 501c3 all on its own. It'll be able to support itself and ask for its own grants. This is probably going to take 2 or 3 years. I'm getting old, people. I need some kids in here that can dig holes and put plants in and do all that stuff. But we've got to have a group of people that are active to do it. And that's going to take a little bit of work getting that up and running. And I'm taking any volunteers, so anybody that wants to raise their hands. On top of that, of course, we've talked about this, the gazebo makeover. We're way overdue with it. If we don't do something with the gazebo, it's going to do it for itself. It's already got some showing, some wear and stuff in the floorboards. I know when we pull those up, we're going to have a disaster over there. But that's something I'd like to see happen, and I'll paint job on that. I've discussed with several people a mural in the park. This is something I've gone over with the A&P. I'm not going to waste your time with it tonight. It's something that if you do want to go into a little bit more, I think they've got some information they can share with you. But that wall at Dr. Thompson's Park is a missed opportunity. When the people are driving in from Memphis, when they're driving in from Jonesboro, they're looking at that huge park and that wall behind it. And it does not have to be anything fancy. Just a simple little sunset, welcome to Hardy, Arkansas on the Spring River. Something that really catches people's attention when they're driving by. This is something that can be shared, and there's definitely different grants that are available to get that done. Other than that, just some simple stuff. We'd like to put some low voltage lighting in there. I think everyone's aware we've had a couple of visitors that have stayed overnight a couple of days. And I think putting low voltage lighting in the park will kind of move these people out at night so they're not sleeping in different areas. We definitely have a camp going on behind our banana plants right now. So we're trying to keep that cleaned up so you can see through there. But getting lighting in there, if you look at it at night, the ambient light that we've got is beautiful, but we need something that is close to the ground so people can't get in there and just lay under the bushes and stuff. So that's something that I think that I've talked to Ethan about it, and that's something that they're already looking into. I need storage space. I've got about $5,000 to $6,000 inventory for my Christmas stuff right now. And when I go in there in November to start pulling stuff out, I can promise you some of it's going to be gone. I'm supposed to have a Santa Claus with reindeers going across the top of the bathhouse. He's in somebody else's house, but he's not mine. So I really need something that's a little bit more secure than what I've got. Again, I'm working with AMP on this. I think we can settle something so we can just take it out so it's in an area where there's not a lot of people that have access to it. And that way I feel a lot more comfortable when we start bringing the stuff in for Easter, when we start bringing stuff in for 4th of July. This is stuff we want to use over and over again. We don't want to just use it once and trash it, but we need a secure place to put it. So I'm going to be looking for something like that, just so I can get my stuff in its own spot, and we can keep an inventory of it. If I'm ever asked, or the 501c3 is ever asked, what did you spend this money on? We have an inventory list, and we can take them directly where the stuff is, say, this is where it's at, and we can count it up right now. These are important things to think about down the road. We have to be accountable, and we have to be transparent to the people who are giving us the money to do this stuff. Other than that, I think we talked about cameras, so that's something you guys are working on, so that's moving forward. As we move into this, and it probably won't be this year, I'd like to make a little bit of a fuss about it, but we're talking about a tulip festival, something that we can do for all party. We get a big splash off that park, but I think we could move this on down the road, and I think you guys could dedicate 2 or 3 days to it. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money or anything, just a little bit of advertising, throw it out there, let people know, and let it build its own momentum. If you could run this on the heels of the Pie Festival, just about the same time, you've already got the people in town, so I think you guys could collect off of that and get a lot of people moving through town just because they're here anyway. And then, other than that, could we please make a decision on the parade? You do this great parade, it comes down the city, and then Santa Claus comes to the park, and it's like, we've done nothing. We put up Christmas trees, and we've got all the blow-up stuff. But if you're going to have a theme for Christmas, you know, if we're going to do the 7 days of Christmas or the 12 days of Christmas, if we know that, we can start buying stuff and we can start collecting. So the whole thing comes together and it looks like a seamless, transformed part of the city. And everybody's doing the same thing. The merchants can get involved, the park can get involved. And then when Santa Claus comes to the park, he's just bringing the parade to the park is basically what we'd be looking at. So those are my desires, my wishes. And like I said, I'm not asking for you to make any decisions tonight. Look over what I've given you. If there are any questions and you need me to come back, I'd be more than happy to. What I'd like to see come out of this is some kind of line item budget for me. What's happened up to this point is Main Street Hardy has given me money, and then I need fertilizer, so I just go out and buy it. I've got a couple of plants that didn't do exactly what I thought they were going to do, so I go out and buy them. I'm retired, so I don't have the money I used to have. So I just need an assurance that if I do go out and I pick up $600 worth of something, you know that it's in your budget and I can just turn in the receipts and it could just happen and everyone knows it's happening. Again, I know you're going into your budget conversations pretty soon for the year, so if you could include me in that so I can be part of it, I'd really appreciate it.
Will you also include it in the AMP budget too?
Yes, we're already working with them. Any questions?
Yeah, what's your phone number?
In public?
Maybe.
847-847-0035. If I see it on the bathroom wall, I will come.
We all know it, so it's.
Yeah, it's not really a secret. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Before you go, I just, we all should be thanking you
Yes.
for what
Yes.
you do. You do a fabulous job.
Thank you guys for supporting us, we really do appreciate it.
Well, it would not be the
We
same without your
appreciate you.
efforts. So
Thank you.
Y'all, Rob has been working in that Thompson Park, and golly, it was a mess years ago. And y'all just brought life to that downtown area and the thousands of people that take the photos there. So council, please keep it in mind as he would like some funding to do some things, and the A&P Commission as well, please keep that in mind as they would like to do some things.
Now, how much is he asking for each?
Well, so it looks as right now Main Street Hardy is providing at least $9,000 from their efforts. On his second page, he's estimating on his projects approximately $5,200, which is quite minimal if you really think about everything that they're doing in there. And if Main Street Hardy is taking on more than 2/3 of the cost, I mean, it is our city park. I don't see any issue with us putting some money into it. However, it would be nice for A&P Commission to help from those revenues.
Yeah.
But that's a staple. We're known for that park. And we have fixed the bathrooms and they look a lot better. They've been painted, the toilets have been painted, inside's painted, the floors, lighting has been fixed, electrical outlets have been put in the ground. It's a great space, so we should really consider that as we work towards the 2026 budget, y'all. Okay? Thank you again, Rob.
Thank you.
He has asked for Christmas parade information in advance. When will we make a decision, or how is the decision made as far as the theme for the parade?
Yeah, Rob, I'll give you a buzz on the Christmas parade.
All right.
Kind of try to get you some details on that. Let me look around and be sure we're not going to be conflicting with anything else before we kind of announce anything on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, that is moving Rob up to the top, so that takes care of that one. I think we're going to get back to the normal flow. Is that right, everybody? Okay. All right, so under new business, we have Act 605, which is Civil Engineering Associates LLC on a rate study. And I believe Mr. Trey Foster is here with us in the room tonight. Mr. Trey Foster has been conducting and performing the rate study. He'll go into a lot more detail about this than what I ever could. He's a math wizard. But in a nutshell, the legislature got together 2 or 3 years ago and passed what eventually became Act 605, which was mandating municipalities to do rate studies on what they charge for water and sewer costs. So look back, the city has not increased water rates or looked at them since 2012, and then sewer rates have not been adjusted since 2018. So obviously there's been some large amount of inflation across the entire country since 2012 and 2018. So we needed to do this rate study. So I've been working with Civil Engineer Associates to get the rate study done. And we are at the point in time where we have run out of time. And it is now time to address this in a business meeting. And we need to review the rate study, and that would be followed by an ordinance for us to look at. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trey, and you're going to be way better at this than I ever would be. So.
No, you did a really good job of summarizing that. Can everybody hear me?
Thank you for coming. I know you traveled a bit. Thank you.
No problem. So you've got the formal rate study in front of you. The first 8 or 9 pages is kind of the guts of it. It's a brief summary of everything that's in the appendix. So I'm going to spend my time in the appendix because all of the information is there, whereas in the front part it's just kind of a short summary. And I'll go over a few things that the state requires. So as Mayor said, Act 605 of 2021 created this requirement for municipalities, and it's staggered based on the number of customers you have. But everyone has to go through a water, and if you provide sewer, water and sewer rate study. So what we're looking at is what does it take to operate your water and sewer system? What are your rates? And then we look at your debt. And your debt The state says you have to have a minimum of 5% debt coverage, so you've got to have in excess of all your revenues and expenses, less your existing debt. You've got to have 5% more. You also have to create a 6% debt or depreciation reserve account. Some places have that, some don't. Some it's mixed in some other places. So you'll see in our report tonight that I've got a dedicated line item for depreciation reserve. So the minimum is 5. They recommend 10 to 15% debt coverage. And when I get into that calculation, how that's made, you can see that a very small increase or decrease in your rate structure can drastically change your debt service. So we're not going to hit that 1.1, 1.15%. We're going to be a little bit above that. But working through all the financials, that's where we landed where we need to be. So we go into less, we're not going to be compliant. If we go into more, we're going to be more of a hardship on ratepayers. So the state requires that we do this. We have to go through a process where we have data collection and analytical review. And then there's certain information that has to be provided. It's comprehensive cost analysis. That's all your financials, your operation and maintenance of the systems, the revenues, earnings, where the revenue is coming from, and then the financial sustainability. So with that, I want to flip over to the appendix. Appendix A, that is printed directly off the internet from the website that houses all of our state laws. That is the bill, that is Act 605 as it was turned into law. Act 605, actually Act 545 that was done in 23 amended that law and changed a few things. I also included that in the appendix as well. Those two laws together, they tasked the Arkansas Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources Division in coming up with the rules on how we're going to implement this. And so the next appendix, Appendix B, are those rules that the Natural Resources Commission came up with that we have to follow. So everything in this report is compliant with Act 605. With the passage of or the adoption of the resolution, when that goes into effect, the city will be in compliance with Act 605, which is a requirement. If you're not compliant with Act 605, the state classifies you as fiscally distressed, and when it comes to needing financing or funding for certain capital improvement projects within the water and sewer system, if they find you in fiscal distress, they're not going to fund you with the project. They're going to require that you get compliant before they entertain any funding. It's very important that we don't end up on that fiscal distress list. There are a few agencies out there now, and they're struggling. They are fiscally distressed, and once they get back in good compliance, once they get back into good compliance, then they can again apply for funding for whatever, and maybe in the form of a grant, maybe in the form of a loan. So Appendix C, this is everything to do with the water system. And I've broken this out. Appendix C is your water system. Appendix D is going to be your sewer system. So right now I'm on Appendix C, sheet 1 of 12. The way I do these rate studies is I take a full year's worth of financial data, and then I extrapolate that out using an inflation factor of about 3.5% to go year to year to estimate what your revenues and what your expenses would be from year to year. So column, page 1, the top portion of that page is your water revenues at the end of the year. And then down below that is your water department expenses. Now, those aren't going to be exact because the way you guys categorize things, some of the expenses are tied directly water and sewer together. So kind of split those out a little bit here, a little bit there, but at the end of the day, we're looking at the total of everything between both water and sewer. So you can see that on sheet 2, the city in 24 was slightly above water. we had a little bit of a problem. That's great, that's better than a lot of places I've been recently. So sheet 3 is, this doesn't factor into anything. This is just an accounting of the end of 24 is what I had it. Most recent that I have when I compiled this report. That's just money in the bank. I ignore it. I take a conservative approach to these rate studies, and any money you have in the bank, I want to ignore that and more or less make that, save it for a rainy day. If something happens, you've got a little money in the bank. What is it? My thought on this is, what does it take if we had to start from zero today and operate our water and sewer system? What does it take? So your long-term liabilities, those are the current existing loans that are tied to the water system. And you can see the payoff there, 2031 through 44 for those various loans. And those are annual payments, so total loans of about we'll call it $40,000. The other thing I do with these rate studies is the customer base that's paying the rates changes all the time. So I'm going back to 2000, and I'm following population trends from 2000 to current, and then I estimate that based on kind of a percent change. Are you an increasing customer base, or are you a decreasing population? And then I take that same percentage and I apply it to your customer base. So if you're losing 5% of your population a year, you're probably going to lose 5% of your customer base as well. Like I said, it's all based on estimates. It's all averages. So it can be a little higher, it can be a little lower. I'm just trying to get some place in there. So flipping over to sheet 5. So this is strictly just revenues based on rates. It has no, trash is not in there, tax is not in there. It's just your water rate. And it's based on 12 months of average customer usage for the last 12 months. So took all the water sales for a 12-month period, divided that by the number of customers you had in each classification, your residential, your business, and your commercial, and then I just average that out to a per customer. So now some are going to be higher, some are going to be lower, but we should be somewhere in the middle of that. So if you look at that, so in 24, you probably have around $195,000 in revenue. 25, accounting for a slight population loss. You basically just see that your revenues for the year in water are steadily declining based on your existing rate structure and the potential of losing potential customers. So that goes all the way through sheet 6. Now I want to jump around on just a little bit. So I want to shift over to sheet 10. So when I do this calculation, so sheet 10 is basically a summary of all of your different revenues and then all of your expenses taken into account from the expenses that we talked about on the very first page. I've rolled those all under Public Works, Water Department, and then I've split out your asset management, your maintenance cost, your self-funded capital improvements, and then if you've got any loans to be associated with that, and then your existing loans as well. In conversation with the mayor, it was realized that there's a potential need for additional part-time employees, so that line item is shown in there as well. So if you look down at the bottom, that DSCR current rates. I remember when I started, I said we need to be at 1.05 minimum to 1. And the state recommends 1.1 to 1.15. You can see we're in the negative. So that tells me that over the next 6 years, the revenues you have and the customer base that you have is not going to be sufficient to cover all of your O&M expenses and create your debt service reserve account that the state has mandated and have your debt service coverage ratio that the state has mandated. Okay? So what does that look like? Now I'm going to go back to sheet 8. not sheet 7. So, because it's time for Hardy to become compliant with Act 605, I need to get you there, and I need to get you there quick. So, in 26, so at the end of this, I'm going to recommend that these rates be accepted and that the rate structure gets implemented beginning with the December reading bills that are due in January. So with that proposed for 2026, I am proposing a 25% increase on residential rates, a 35% increase on business rates, and a 55% increase on the commercial rate. All right. Obviously, there's the most amount of, the bulk of your customers are residential, and they generate the most revenue, but they are getting the smallest increase because I know there's a lot of people up here that are on fixed incomes. There's a lot of retired folks, so I want to soften the blow on the older residents as much as we can. Your business class and your commercial class, in my opinion, they're better equipped to absorb that cost. Yes, I know they eventually have to pass it on to the customers, but that gets spread out a little bit more so than just individual households.
How is business and commercial differentiated?
Business is everything. I think the only one that's a commercial rate is the,
BNS.
yes, it's the private entity out there on the river that they have, they're just buying water and all their residents pay whatever it is. It's classified as a commercial rate in y'all's rate structure.
It would be Riverbend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So non-residents.
Yep.
It's still customer.
Right. So, so with that will get you up to where you're compliant. And then in 27, and I've done this across the board on every rate study that I've done. As Mayor mentioned earlier, when's the last time water rates were increased?
2012.
2012. That was 13 years ago. And 2018, sewer rates, that was, 7 years ago. Most small towns in Arkansas have been notorious for not increasing rates over time. So in order to combat this, my recommendation is to have small increases on a yearly basis so that you can help keep up with the cost of doing business. Inflation doesn't stop. We've seen really high inflation the last few years, but generally it's in that 2 to 5%, maybe 3% on average. Cost of living is generally what you see from an inflation standpoint. So in order to maintain compliance and add some, and I'm going to talk about some projects that are on the planning phase right now, to account for those and to account for any additional debt that has to be taken out for those proposed projects, I'm recommending that we do a 5% annual increase every January through the end of the study period. The end of the study period is in 31. Act 605 says that you guys have to go through this exercise every 5 years. So by the end of this one, everything will be looked at again. It may be at that point say, yeah, just continue with the 5%, maybe drop to 3%, maybe we're good for now. I don't know. Time will tell when the next rate analysis comes up. So on the water side, you guys aren't doing too terribly bad. There's not really any major capital improvement projects that are planned on the water side at this time. We do have some tank inspections that need to be done. I've accounted for those on sheet 9. There's not a large capital improvement project that would require the city to go out and issue bonds or take on a loan and things of that nature on the water side. There are some things that could be done from on the water side from a potential grant application, but grant projects I didn't include in this report because they don't factor into your debt service coverage ratio. So if we can get some grants to do some other capital improvements that are included in this, then that's just icing on cake. So sheet 10, we already went over, it shows you were going to be in the negative. Sheet 11, by implementing this rate structure, we are up above the 1.05 minimum. and we're starting to increase up to 1.7 in 2031. But remember, I said a small change in your rates will drastically impact your debt service coverage ratio. So that may look a little high to everybody, but it's really not that bad. So just above that, I'm putting basically the profit, if you will. So you're at 1% profit in 26, and up to 6% profit in 31. You are going to have a little bit of wiggle room. So if something does happen and there's a capital improvement project that needs to be done on the water side, and you have to go out and get financing for it, there is a little bit of wiggle room in that, where you can take out that additional debt and still be compliant with Act 605. So I've got several of these that I've done that, I turn them into the state, and then a project comes up, and they call me and say, hey, they got to raise rates again. So wait a minute, go look at your report that I turned in, and let's figure it out. Where does that land? And in most cases, in every case that I've came across so far, there's been sufficient coverage in that they could afford that little bit of extra debt that they had to take on because something came up unexpectedly. So the other thing that the state makes us look at is on sheet 12. This is median portability. That is the average, the last 23 income data is all that the state has published so far. So we average 21, 22, and 23 on median household income. That comes directly from UALR's Economic Center for Development. They're tracking census data and all that stuff that shows up on the census forms. So Hardy has a 3-year average of 33.5. Sharp County has 41.214. Fulton County is 38.269, and the state of Arkansas is at 55.743. So what this is this is looking at how are your rates compared to the median household income, and how does that impact your rate payers. So Hardy's LMI is 41.8%. That does not put you in a category of being a disadvantaged community because you are less than 51%. So what that means is, in order to calculate this, I take the cost of a 4,000 gallon water bill, water only, multiply that by 12, so we got a 12-month cost of your water, divide that by the median household income, and multiply that by 100. And the state says if you're at because you're not disadvantaged, if you're at 1.5 or higher, then your rates are sufficiently high, and anything higher than that, you are a potential hardship on your ratepayers. So as you can see, 25, we're still below that. 26, we're getting close. 27, we do actually creep over the 1.5. And then the way this is structured, we continue to increase that. So we're becoming more and more of a hardship on our ratepayers. Now, I have asked the question to the state, if I've got a balance being compliant with Act 605 and the debt service coverage ratios, or being a hardship on the ratepayers, they say, you've got to be compliant. Or not, at that point, they become not concerned. I won't say not concerned, but it's not as important of a factor for them to be a hardship on the ratepayers. The good thing about having rates high enough to where they think that you are a hardship on your ratepayer is that potentially opens you up for additional grant money. So instead of having to take out a loan, they might say, I don't know, let's say an 80-20 comes out where you could get 80% grant money and 20% loan. Instead of that being 100% loan, we now get 80% grant and 20%. 80% grant, 20% loan. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just puts you in a category where they're looking at you guys and say, okay, these guys are on the right track. They're doing what they need to do to operate and maintain the system. We can give them a little break and potentially give them grant money, whereas someone else is just, sliding by and not doing what they need to do. We're going to force them to take a loan.
So, also when you were saying, like, when they say it's a profit, if you're above and making some money and everything, would it be better said that it's a value for us is sustainability instead of a profit kind of thing? It gives us that wheel like you were talking about?
You could use that terminology, yeah. So,
because people always say, oh, they're making a profit, why are we raising taxes or anything else, raising anything?
Yeah.
And I hear that, and I'm like, to me, this is the sustainability part.
It really is a sustainability. You know, you don't want, the town as a whole, the system as a whole is a nonprofit.
Okay.
But what I have found is when I present these, if I present it as, most everybody understands what profit is. So I use that term loosely to say, okay, you're basically above water. You know, is that really a profit? No, because when you factor in, those numbers don't factor in depreciation.
Right.
And depreciation is one of those accounting things that, you know, it's there, but it's not really there. But if you factor in depreciation, you're still below one or breaking even.
That's what I was asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's water. So, I went through that a little fast. If anybody's got any questions, I'll pause for a second and answer any questions if anybody has anything. Okay. Appendix D is the exact same thing, except for now we're talking about sewer. So sheet 1, the revenues and the expenses. You can see on sheet 2 at the bottom of the page, you were in the negative on the sewer system for last year. So you've only got, currently on sheet 3, you've only got one loan attached to the sewer system. This population trend is exactly the same as it was before. So sheet 5, this is your existing rate structure and what your revenues would look like if you maintain the current rate structure. So that goes through sheet 7, or sheet 6. And then sheet 10 shows us our debt service coverage ratio based on current rate structure. 25, I'm expecting to be at negative 5.56, and going through, you maintain that 5 to, you know, ranges from 3.5 to almost 6.5 in the negative. So, sheet 8, or excuse me, sheet 7 is the proposal. 2026, across the board, water and sewer, 175% increase. And then 27, a 10% increase. And then we back off and we do a 5% increase from 28 to 31. Now, this increase looks a lot worse than it is. There are some capital improvement projects planned. We're about to be under a consent order, or we're under a corrective action plan for the wastewater plant. It's got to be fixed. We had applied for some funding for that. It came back 100% loan. We weren't current with the rate study at that point, so we turned that money back to 100% loan, and we're going to go back and apply for funding again for the same project in hopes that we get 75% grant, 25% loan. Okay, that's the best. That's about the best loan to grant ratio that you can get right now from the state. And so I factored the rates accounted for that loan of 25% of that total cost rather than 100% of the total cost. So the rates would have gone drastically higher than that had we been planning for that to be 100%. So the state's going to look at that and say, okay, your rates are sufficiently high. You are real close on your LMI. You guys used to be at 51%, a little bit higher. The last census that came out dropped you down. So there's some things that we can do there. We can look at working with the planning district and do an independent survey of the city to try to get that LMI percentage back up. That is the number one reason why when the government does a census, that everybody needs to do it. Because if everybody doesn't do it, those people that don't turn in their census data, it gets applied as a non-LMI residence or entity. So it's very, very important that all the residents in town turn in that census data. Okay, so I'm going to flip over here to sheet 11. what our debt service coverage ratio looks like with existing revenues, using the new rate, the proposed rate structure, expenses, existing debt, maintenance activities. That does include replacing some vehicles between the water and the sewer department. If they're not replaced, it's fine, it doesn't have to be replaced, but I've accounted for funding to be created so that you could replace those vehicles and just go write a check for them rather than have to take out another loan. Can you take out a loan? You can still do it however you want to. I'm giving you an opportunity to be able to do it a little bit different and go about it and just pay for it and be done. So you can see here that in 26, I'm planning on you guys being at 1.27. We'll get up to 1.31 and then we'll drop back in 2028. In 2028, I have in here figured to replace some piece of equipment. I'll get to that in a minute. And if we're able to get the 75-25 loan for the upgrades to the sewer plant, then the full payment will be due in that 2028 timeframe. That'd be the first year that it's fully due. That's why it drops back down. But that's also why I'm keeping the rate structure proposed at increasing, 5% year over year. So you can see here that that sustainability number is starting at 2% in 26, and we float around 2-3% all the way through. And so if I change your sewer rate the slightest little bit, you're not going to be compliant. It's going to drop you below. And then median household affordability, same thing. Usage for 4,000 gallons, multiplied by 12, divided by median household income, multiplied by 100. You're well over the 1.5 that the state says your hardship on your ratepayers. You guys, just like a lot of other cities in our small cities in Arkansas, you've got sewer problems. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. It's old infrastructure. It's, what did Steve say earlier? He spent a week and a half replacing a sewer main that blew out. I mean, it's just, it's part of doing business. All right, now I want to flip over to Appendix E. This is the asset management plan. This is another requirement from the state. The top portion of each one of these charts where it says annual maintenance, estimated replacement cost, and estimated replacement date. Those are just placeholders for estimated replacement cost and replacement date. If it's occurring within the next 5 years, I'll have it down at the bottom under 5-year capital improvement needs. The annual maintenance cost is taking all of your maintenance costs from your financial statements. I'm trying to kind of divide it up so that it all falls out into something. So if I was to calculate all this, it should be pretty close to the overall maintenance cost of the water system. So you got well 1, well 2. There's nothing planned for capital improvements. On sheet 2, 26 and 28, we need to be looking at tank inspections, tank 1 and tank 3. And then it looks like, actually, I did take this out. One of the versions that I did, we looked at a Razorback Edition extension, and I had factored that in at 75% grant, 25% loan. That was taken out because it was forcing the rates to go too high. But that is something that if we do an LMI survey, we may be able to look at doing small pieces of that using CDBG funds, which is 100% grant. So that's a typo on my part, but it is not included in the proposed rate structure. And then here's your heavy equipment or vehicles. Nothing major there. And then on sheet continuing, this is the sewer side. We've got the treatment plant rehabilitation there on sheet 1 and 3. That's the estimated cost at just shy of $1.4 million. And I'm showing that as a 75% grant, 25% loan. And I'm using a 4.5% interest rate on that calculation to determine what the monthly payment will be associated with that loan. That is the current rate. I have talked to the state. They won't tell you what the rates are going to do, but they kind of insinuated that they're either going to stay the same or they're going to go down. We don't anticipate them going up. So if they come down, great, that's just a little more money in your pocket. Let's see. And that was it. That was it as far as major capital improvement projects that were planned as part of this analysis. So, the mayor asked me to prepare a sample bill for everybody to look at so you can kind of see with the proposed rates, everything together. It's got water, sewer, pump maintenance, your solid waste fee, your trash fee, and then your tax. So I'll pass those around. What I did, the top line there is your current rates, and then everything else is 26 through the end of the study period. So you kind of keep looking at that top line and see how it's changing. Then you kind of see that's the minimum. So your minimum is 1,000 gallons of water. So that's your minimum water and your minimum sewer, and then the trash and everything that goes with that.
So right now it's 5146 on water, sewer, pump, SWDA, trash, and tax. And when you look at what's going to go into effect, we're saying 7984 for 2026 on residential.
Yes, sir.
And an 8435 on the business. And this is the first 1,000 gallons used.
Yes.
Okay.
The commercial looks a whole lot smaller there on that one because they don't have sewer. And so I'm only, their usage is astronomical. They're using like 7,000, that's not right. They're using more than that. They're averaging, about 745,000 gallons a month out there. So their water bill is, it's just on there. That's not anywhere close to what their bill will be.
When you take this plan you put together, and it's a massive undertaking to run a water and wastewater system. I don't know if y'all have ever looked at anything in depth like this, but you have got multi-million dollars in infrastructure replacement in this system. And from what I have gathered is that the cities were all going to the state saying, our infrastructure is failing, we don't have any money, what do we do? So then everybody goes to the state and says, hey, we need assistance. Well, that's prompted this Act 605 to go in place because no one was charging enough money to operate these water systems. And that's where we are today, is that we're not charging enough money to operate this water system. And our chances of doing anything at the wastewater treatment facility center are slim to nothing if we're not in compliance with this. I don't even know what would happen if we're not in compliance. What would happen if we weren't in compliance with the rate study, like long-term?
Long-term, it's still new enough that the state hasn't come back and said, we're going to do this, this, and this. But number one, they would list you as fiscally distressed. So they're not going to give you any financial assistance until you get compliant with that and get your rates up to where they need to be.
Which would be a complete kink in the plan of trying to get funding in November for the wastewater treatment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So rates not being changed for year to year. And in the past, when communities would go to the state or to the federal government and ask for assistance, there was always some sort of rate analysis that went into that. But the rate analysis was specifically to that project, whatever they were asking for. And sometimes they had to raise their rates, sometimes they didn't. But most of the time when they raised their rates, they only required them to raise their rates just enough to make the payment. It didn't account for the extra O&M that went into maintaining that project, whatever it might be. It didn't account for replacing any type of vehicles or equipment or backhoes, tractors, all those things. It didn't account for cost of living raises. And those are things that communities do, and they try to take care of their employees, and they try to, increase their pay over time as they can. With this, is it an overreach of state government? Yes. Should they be telling you how to run your system? No. Is it a good thing for you to think about this and do these things anyway from a running a system standpoint? Yeah. So, I'm kind of conflicted in that because I don't want the government telling me what I've got to do. But then again, I need to operate my business in a way that I can maintain and operate without having to go to the bank every time I need something. So that's my two cents on that soapbox.
Because, the city has a street department and obviously general funds, but if you don't really microscopically look into it, you've got a water and wastewater department that we run, and then you don't see everything in the ground every day. You don't see the water lines in the ground. You don't see the sewer lines. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. I think the city's kind of turned their cheek to like the infrastructure of this city for a long, long time. I mean, it's been since the 90s that any major project has been done in the city, and that's 35 years ago now. And our infrastructure is failing. And if we don't do something about it now, there's not going to be a city left in 20 years with infrastructure available. I mean, we sit here and we talk about everything that we're dealing with today, but my goodness, we need to be looking like legitimately at what the next 20 and 30 and 50 years looks like. Like you look on here in 2080, it's going to be $11.5 million just to do a project of your collection system that was put into date in the 60s. I mean, and then the water tanks, I mean, the lift stations, I mean, and that's just the sewer. It's a lot, y'all. This is a lot to run a water and a sewer department, and we don't think about it every day. You see Tim and John and Steve running around fixing everything all day. Well, they're fixing everything all day because everything is failing. And this is tough. I mean, these are not easy things to do. I've been dreading having to do this the last 2 years. I knew that the state had made this act of compliance. I had talked to other mayors, and they were, everybody's like, well, we don't want the state telling us what to do. But y'all, if we don't listen and comply, we've got can you talk about the NPDES permit?
Yeah, let me tack on that real quick before I talk about that. So this is not a party problem. This is not an administrative problem. This is a statewide, nationwide problem where this is not uncommon across the country. Arkansas being a little more rural than a lot of the country, it may be highlighted here a little bit more, but this is not at the fault of anyone. It's like you said, it's outside, out of mind until it breaks. Somebody goes in, they can't flush their toilet because the sewer lines are stopped up, that's a problem. And they're gonna start coughing, well then you gotta go fix that. And over time, that just gets worse and worse. I don't know what y'all's lines look like here now. I don't know what they're made out of. They're probably clay. There's probably some concrete lines, or maybe even decent ductile lines. But those types of facilities only have a certain amount of life expectancy before they start failing. So I just want to throw that little tidbit in there. The NPDES permit is the National Pollutant, I don't know what all it stands for. Anyway, that's the permit that you guys get from Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality that allows you to discharge treated wastewater from your plant to the Spring River. And so there's a lot of environmental factors that go into that, and the chemicals and things that they have to use to treat the wastewater. That whole process has to work. If you're not in compliance with that, the state can put you under consent order. They can bring the EPA down on you. They can fine the city, and they can imprison. That is the only state agency I'm aware of that when you get a permit or something that has the potential for fines and imprisonment for not following the P.E.G permit. So it's a big deal, and there's a lot of places that are under those consent orders, and so that's DEQ's way of kind of keeping the EPA off your back. They can issue you a small fine, or maybe a large fine, but then they put you under that order, and they monitor you, make sure you're working toward getting compliance back with that permit. So it's a hassle for everybody involved.
I know we have not to have a pun, but we have watered this thing down as much as we could when we were looking at this. I want to say when we were looking back in March timeline of borrowing the 1.2 or $1.3 million from the state to fix the wastewater treatment facility center. We got into the calculations of this, y'all, and it would have made the water bill over $200. Is that about right?
I don't remember that number. We've gone through a few iterations, and I've done a few others of these.
So had we borrowed that money and put it in here, it would have literally been a disservice, and the citizens couldn't have paid their water bill, which means the city couldn't have paid the loan back to the state. So we're needing to go back in November, 2 months from now, and request to them funding in the amount of about $1.3 million to do a rehabilitation project at the wastewater treatment facility center. We have got to do that to stay in compliance with the NPDES permit. If for some reason we didn't get the funding in November, which we're crossing our fingers and hoping for, that's a large grant and a small loan, like these rates have to be into effect for Natural Resources Commission to even consider approving that grant process. If we're not in compliant with Natural Resources Commission, then they're literally going to throw our application out the window. I mean, this was an act put into place. We have dreaded having to do this the last 2 years. I know times are tough for many families, mine and everyone else's. I mean, this is not easy. But when you go and you run your household and you pay your bills, you got to pay your mortgage, you got to pay your water bill, you got to pay your electric bill. These are the essential basic life services that people need. And I know we're talking about going up in the rates, but there's nothing in this world that's free. I don't know what to say. I mean, this ultimately comes back to the city, and it ultimately goes out, to our customers. And had we borrowed the 1.3, this water bill would have been over $200, I believe. So to get it from that down to $79.84 next year is not a bad deal as to what it could have been had we actually had to borrow that money. We're just sitting here crossing our fingers. Steve and Tim and John have been limping along the last 8 months, doing minor fixes here and here, just trying to keep the system going. We are just at a point where we have got to fix that treatment facility center. And Steve has said this 100 times. If anybody wants to go look at Waterworld, he will gladly take you and show you what's going on up there. It is in dire need of attention. It's our essential services: water, wastewater, sanitation, fire, police. That's why we exist. I'm not happy about it. I don't know what to say. I don't like to see us have to pass this on, but it is being done by the state. We don't really have a whole lot of option. And Trey has done a magnificent job in working on the rate study. You're very detailed in here. Does council have any questions for Trey on the rate study and kind of any detail here while he is here in this building and can answer your questions?
It was pretty comprehensive.
It's very good. I don't even know how many pages this is. I mean, but it's a lot. This is what you do. I know this is your area of specialty.
Very professional.
It's very good, and you did a very fine job getting down to the nitty gritty and being sure we took into account what we needed, the debts we currently have, and we all talked about the need of having an additional part-time employee for Public Works. This is put into there. We are funding that 4th person for Public Works. We know we need it. So that is a blessing to be able to have this opportunity to put that in there. It's split between water and wastewater. So that gives that department the help that they need. And you even talked about some asset replacement. The city's not done a good job at all on replacing assets over the last 30 years that I can look back and see records on. So by having some revenues in here to where instead of us going to borrow money and then carry a note payment, being able to self-fund some of our asset replacement, that is good business. That is very good management of business, and being able to replace your trucks, your backhoes, your pumps, these various things that we find ourselves doing and having trouble doing every couple of years. that cash will be available to do those things. And that allows that department head to actually run his department more efficiently. So I'm just glad you had asset replacement in there. That is good business. I just wanted to comment on that. I'm going to be quiet. Again, does council have anything?
I have a question. Is the loan that you're wanting to apply for in November, is that included in this?
It is included, so if the funding goes through, it would be allocated in November. It's going to be, give or take, 12 to 18 months to get it through all the review and approval and the design of everything, and then out on the ground for construction. So I'm thinking, a 27 construction project sometime, and then once construction starts, that's when the loan would actually close. So then your payments would start interest only while it's under construction, and when construction's over with, the full payment would start. I've accounted for that as basically we're going to be done and we're going to be making a full payment about halfway through 27, and then in 28 you would be that full 12 months worth of payment. That's what I've shown in the report. Half a year's payment in 27 and a full year's payment in 28 and forward. And that's based on a 4.5% interest for a 20-year note.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like on this sample bill that you said that basically between right now and 2031, rates are basically doubling. People's water bills will be doubled.
Over that course of time, yes, ma'am. So, big jump this first year, and then a smaller increment each year after that to try to keep up with the cost of doing business.
And then do you think in 2031 that we will be able to hold, I mean, we just need to know what do we need to tell our constituents?
Right.
Because, obviously we're going to have to vote for something and people are going to go.
So this whole thing is new. Nobody has a crystal ball to know exactly how it's going to turn out 5 years from now at the end of one of these rate studies. And so all of this, I mean, there's nothing to go on. Yes, people have done rate studies all along, here and there, but a mass influx of requirement to do these things and include asset management plans, that's new to the state. So yes, I'm taking my best educated guess and estimate to try to account for what's going on. What I've seen over the last year or so with some of these entities that did the rate studies in 2023 and 24, I'm a little bit low on my estimates of their revenue. Their revenues are actually a little bit higher than what I had anticipated, which is great news to me because I want this to be conservative. I want this to be a kind of a worst case scenario, not the best case scenario. So if the revenues, if your population trends don't go down as fast as I've anticipated them being, or if your revenues, maybe you go through a growth spurt and your revenues go up. Those are all things that would factor into your next rate study. So yeah, there's a potential there that you could level off and not have to do more increases over the next 5-year period. I don't know that. I have no way of being able to say yes or no on that. But ideally, from my perspective, if I'm going to recommend small incremental increases now, the likelihood that I would recommend continuing with small incremental increases on a yearly basis would probably be advantageous. The people will get used to that. And if you're only going up, say maybe you cut it back to 2.5% or 3%. Now you're only talking $1 or $2 extra a month. And so those small increases over time, yes, they do add up, but they're not as hard to absorb from the ratepayers as the big jumps. And that's what I'd like to prevent, is big jumps 5 years from now.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, what are our citizens going to, when are you talking about the bill, when will they see that giant jump?
December.
In January?
January.
Well, the bill they get that's
In
due
December.
in January. So whenever that bill comes out, they come out for the
First of the year.
So, yeah, right the first year, they'll get their first bill that'll have these new rates included.
So it's about $5 approximately.
No, it's not $5, it's going up from like, Well, a minimum of $51.46. Their minimum bill is $51.46 for 1,000 gallons. If they use more than 1,000 gallons, their water bill is higher than that.
Just gotta remember there's sewer and trash included in there.
Sure, sure.
It's an inclusive bill.
Sure, that's what I was just trying to tell Sue, it's gonna go from the bill that you would get every, in the month, if you used 1,000 gallons or less, it's just a minimum of 1,000 gallons, so that's your at least billing bill for that. So it's gonna go from $51.46 to, in January, they would get their next bill would be $79.84. So, how are we gonna get this information out? Do we need to just be going to the store and telling people, hey, this is what's going on? Or are they gonna be, is it sticker shock come January? I just need to know what do I tell people?
Yeah, I would think probably in the November bill, when they get it, there would be a little message on there that says new rates go into effect next month. And then that, at least have got that notice on their water bill. I'm sure the media is going to cover it, so, any attention in the media, but I mean.
So this would be done by ordinance, and the ordinance is required to be posted around town in certain places, so that's another way.
Ours will go in the newspaper.
I have another question.
We had, sorry, go ahead.
You're saying sewer is going up 175% because on the bills. Now, your Act 605 says you have 2 years. We have 2 years to do that. Can we not gradually increase it over the 2 years, or is there a reason we're going to jump into
I looked at that, but I had to do it all at once because you've got to be compliant, so you would not have been compliant in 26 and had I done it over 2 years. If I would have split that, you would not have been compliant for 26. You would have the rate study done, but you still wouldn't be in compliance with the rate study with your debt service coverage ratio and your depreciation reserves and all that.
It says rates determined from the study. It says you have 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you do this
If
in
you
August
increase
2025.
over 50%, then yes, you can implement that over a 2-year period. However, we need to be compliant, and that's the driving factor that is getting us to the point where we're compliant. And also, it's weird how that calculates, because that also plays into, if I did half of that this year, half of it next year, then those 5% increases year after year go up to 7 or 8%. Because you're losing half of that revenue in the first year, so you still have to caught up. Yeah, I played with that number a lot.
Okay, did trash rates get a review?
That is not part of this, and was not part of Act 605. This is strictly tied to Act 605.
Okay, so that's not part of it.
It's water, wastewater, trash.
There's nothing in this report that discusses trash except for that sample bill, just so you can see. When you get that card in the mail, it has all that on there. That's all I want to show what you're.
Okay, so then that would be is that the trash company, what's it called? What is the?
So we set the rates for our trash service based upon what they charge us, and it's very close.
Okay, so is there plans for any increase in trash pickup?
I didn't propose it at this time.
Okay.
Should we? Sure. We also need to look at the sewer tap fees. Steve and I have been talking about our sewer tap fees. We're way under where they're supposed to be.
Okay, what is, just tell me what that is.
It's the cost that it actually costs to go tap into someone's sewer and connect them to our sewer. And right now, it's a few $100s, and it costs us over $1,000 every time we do it. We're not charging enough on our sewer tap fees.
Okay.
That's another topic for another day.
So can we pass this ordinance like as late as November and still be in compliance by December?
We need to be in compliance by the November NRC meeting.
You technically are not compliant right now. So
since July?
Since July. So we need to be, so I'm trying to get you on that list, also with the knowledge that in November, we're going to submit an application for funding. We need to have this in place, so when the funding agency says, where's your rate study, are you compliant? We can say, here it is, yes, we are now compliant with that, and so we're eligible for that application.
Trey, you've done a great job on it. I wish it wasn't what it was, but again, I mean,
this one was a little rough. You're not the worst one I've had. I mean, I've had some that got bigger increases than expected. But it's
It's a
I don't,
necessity.
I don't want to take this lightly, but we've got to be compliant. And that's, I don't like it, but that's the law. And so we're tasked with trying to get you to the point where everybody's compliant with the law. Any other questions? Do you want me to do the resolution, or y'all want to handle that?
You're welcome to help us if we have ordinance on it. I will take the lead, but if you catch me doing something incorrect, since you've done a bunch of them, wait a minute. So this was Act 605 of Civil Engineering Associates rate study. We've gone over the rate study. There's a copy of it in the council's packet, and there's been a copy of it put out in the general public packet as well. If you flip back to your packet after that showing of what the water bills on residential and business and commercial will look like over the next several years, this ordinance has been provided to us from Civil Engineer Associates, who does these, and this is now ordinance number 2025-07. So this ordinance sets forth everything that 605 is telling us we have to do, and it has Exhibit A with it that shows the effective rates for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and this is what we would need to approve. And then you would take the approved ordinance tray with a copy of your certified plan here, and then turn that into the state to get us in compliance with the rate study requirements.
Yes. Upon you sending me a fully executed copy of the ordinance, I will submit the report and the ordinance to ANRC and to legislative audit. It has to go to both of them.
Okay. Does everybody kind of follow the process of where we are now in the ordinance in order to get in compliance, and how crucial this is to potentially getting funding in November? Okay. At this time then, do I hear a motion to read ordinance 2025-07 by title only and waive the first, second, and third readings?
So moved.
Okay, I've got a first from Ms. Laura Smith. I believe I have a second from Dr. Berry. Via voice vote, all in favor of reading ordinance number 2025-07 by title only and waiving the first, second, and third readings, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I am. I'd like to read.
The ayes have it. Thank you. By title only, ordinance number 2025-07, an ordinance establishing rates for services rendered by the water and sewer system of the city of Hardy, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and prescribing other matters relating thereto. That has been the reading of ordinance title only, number 2025-07. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-07?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I've got a motion from Dr. Berry to approve ordinance number 2025-07.
Second.
Got a second from Ms. Laura Smith to approve ordinance number 2025-07.
Mayor,
Sir, who?
may I be recognized?
What you got, Greg?
I question the logistics of putting the emergency clause as part of the ordinance. Typically, an ordinance is a standalone entity. You read it, you don't read it, it's up to you. You pass it, you agree to it. Then the emergency clause is the next step. You can put it into effect immediately. It goes into effect, you do it that way. I would be skeptical, and I no disrespect to your report. I know it's a very thorough report, but this council has had it on their table for, well, I guess they got a report, they got a summary of the report in their packet on Friday. And they had it on their table with the presentation for less than 20 minutes. I would be very leery of passing a major rate increase without a little more thorough review. Not that it's going to change that much, but you have until November.
We've been reviewing this in the last 8 months, Trey, I mean, in detail.
Did they have that report he's passed out?
They had the final one that I was given on about 8/19.
So.
I understand what you're saying on the emergency clause, by the way, and everything else that we had done, it had it listed in
The
the.
council realizes an emergency clause just makes it affect the meeting, otherwise there'd be 3 readings and 3 passings.
Yes,
You do it 3 different months and have a chance to get some, public input is not even done. When we did the rate increase of 2018 for sewer, we had a public meeting for that. Usually we do that with the water department. You tell the public you're about to raise the rates, you invite them to a meeting to hear what the changes are and why, and have a gentleman like yourself present, and then you talk about it. I'm not saying we're not going to have to take this. I totally understand where he's coming from. I disagree with some of your statement about no maintenance and no new equipment and all that, because I was part of the administration that often did maintenance and had loans and those kind of things. But I will tell you that if you're going to make this major change, I'd at least take a month and think through it. You could vote tonight to accept it without the emergency clause and then do it again next month and do the emergency clause, but I'd at least do more than 15-minute review. My 2 cents, Mayor, sir.
Thank you. I had the same question about whether, it needed to be done. I think the explanation was because you're doing rates all at once across multiple departments. Is that?
Because we're doing a rate increase equitably across all users, then it did not require the public hearing and all that typically goes with a sewer increase. Water increases are at the convenience of the council. Sewer increases are the ones that are a little more difficult, but since it's tied to equitably across all users, that requirement is void.
Y'all, we should have done this by July, and then here we are where it's now done, and we're in the middle of calling on a vote on this, and I feel it's very crucial to get this put into place. Or we're risking the wastewater treatment facility center project that I've been working on the last 2.5 years with Steve, and we desperately need to do this wastewater treatment facility center project. There's no doubt in my mind that we do not need to do that. So could you tell me who I had a first and a second with?
Yes. First from Barry and second by Smith.
Okay, we had a first to approve from Dr. Berry and a second to approve from Ms. Smith. Does this require a roll call? Do you know? Okay. So via voice vote, all in favor of approving ordinance number 2025-07, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes had it. Ordinance number 2025-07 is approved. At this time, there is an emergency clause. Do I hear a motion to put into effect the emergency clause as it pertains to ordinance number 2025-07?
I feel there's no reason for emergency clause.
Well, I believe we'd have to.
I kind of agree with what he's saying.
It's a part of the ordinance, it's not, there is no clause.
Yeah, it's right there.
You already voted on it.
Already in there.
Well, Mr. Greider always told me every time we had to vote to make the emergency clause into effect.
It's a separate ordinance, a separate item.
But he's put it in the ordinance every time, and this has been his case. So I would really prefer to have a vote to enact the emergency clause, just in the event that someone was to question as to why we have not, and we have been for the last 2 years, using our emergency clause.
And so moved.
Okay, I've got a first motion here to enact the emergency clause as it pertains to ordinance number 2025-07. Is there a second on the table?
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a second to enact the emergency clause. Via voice vote, all in favor of enacting the emergency clause, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Okay. What does that have?
How many opposed?
Well, I asked for a voice vote, not a signal, but I believe the ayes were louder than the nays, so we're going to go with the emergency clause being passed on the voice vote.
Well, technically, I think you have to go over nays and that, so did you say nay or yes? You can't say, it don't matter who's louder, it matters who say it.
Okay, well, do we need to redo it? Because I feel like I heard more yeas than nays.
Yeah,
Via voice vote, all in favor of enacting the emergency clause, say yes.
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 Those against, say no.
No.
Okay, well, it's about even.
Call the roll.
Call roll.
Call the roll.
Well, let's call the roll on an emergency clause, please.
Yes. Barry,
Yes.
Kaufman,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Taylor,
I'm going to abstain.
Quintana Dubois,
No.
Clay Thomas.
Yes.
Is that 3 yeses and 2 noes?
Yes.
We
And
have-
one abstention.
We have 3 yeses, 2 noes, and 1 abstained. I believe that passes as far as I understand. As far as I understand, that passes.
Yep.
Okay. So that enacts the emergency clause. So the emergency clause has gone into effect. So at this time, we will consider ordinance as approved and the emergency clause has passed. And then we will be able to sign this tomorrow for you, Mr. Foster, and get you a copy of it. And then you'll be able to send it on into the state for us. Okay. Thank you very much for your time and taking care of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
guys
sir.
for your time. Sorry I drug it out too long. I've got an extra copy of this.
Thank you.
If you want to make it available to the public, it's fine.
Gotcha.
Listen, y'all have a good evening. You too.
Say, Travis.
It just didn't feel, I just didn't feel good about doing it, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be neutral, you know? That's fine.
Okay, that takes care.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
Please tell Ann I said hello. Okay, we have got, at this time, we'll note at 8:23, we've excused Dr. Barrett. At this time, we have Resolution 2025-16. This resolution has been put together after we discussed last month the need to amend Resolution 2025-01. So on this resolution, we made the adjustments on the last paragraph of page 1 of 2, and it talks about how the meeting package will be placed in the council member's designated city hall mailbox at 12 p.m. on Friday and be electronically delivered by 1 p.m. on Friday before the regular meeting takes place. And at the same time, I went ahead and updated the location of our meetings to the Civic Center in that second and third to last paragraphs. So this resolution has been updated and provided with the delivery format and time, as well as the location of the meetings to be held and where they are held at. You'll have the time to look at this resolution and kind of dissect it and see if it's agreeable as to what we were trying to accomplish.
I would actually, especially in light of the, with what happened with the budget, with the CD allocation and stuff, and just not having really adequate time to go through things. I mean, you don't like to work on weekends, you know, basically if we're getting it on Friday at noon, we have to work on weekends to be able to go through everything to see if, you know, just to get familiar with it, talk to anybody that we need to talk to about it. I would really like this even earlier than that. I would actually really like it on Wednesday. Prior to the meeting. And that way it can be put out, it can be put on our website. The public can go on, they can see, you know, what's on the agenda, and they can see what's happening. I think we'll have a lot more better
Well,
informed.
I think the agenda's getting put up on Thursdays now, and we've got that on the website and on the socials, so the agenda is out there by Thursdays. And that's been a state law that went into effect about 2 months ago. So we thankfully have been getting the agenda out, and that's been made available to the public. It takes me a solid 4 days to really put all this together with Tricia and with Willow, and Wednesday is just, I mean, it's really cutting it for me. I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to say I'm bad at time management. I'm just saying I need every bit of time to put this together. I'm one person, and it just requires a lot of time. Plus,
I realize that. I mean, just start earlier. I mean, just
it's not going to be up to date for when we meet. It's not going to have current things if that's what you want. I'm trying to keep it at most up to date and as current as possible for by the time we get together on the following Monday. I took everything you asked me to do and put into this resolution.
no, and I mean, I do appreciate that, but I'm just looking. If I had had more time to look over the financials and stuff, I probably would have caught would have seen the allocations, and I think everybody else would have had a chance to see that. And it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have had to be a big deal, but that's my thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has needs more time to be able to go through things or not, but,
If that's something we want to look at as we get into January, then so be it. This is what we've done here. I feel like we beat a dead horse 3 ways. I would just like to move on with business.
and we'll be reviewing this again we'll be redoing this in January, correct?
You do a resolution every single year to establish the agenda format in the first meeting of the year. Yes. So that's what we'll be doing. It'll be resolution 2025-0, resolution 2026-01 will be the first one we do that sets the agenda when you go into the new year. So if there's something you would like to see then get with me in December as we're working to put these things together for the January meeting. And we can discuss it and talk about it. But the way we've got the deadline for Friday, it takes me every bit of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday just to get it wrapped up. And then by Friday, I'm working with the scanner, and working with the computer, and working with emails, and working with copiers, and being sure everything's gotten put in there exactly the way it needs to be done.
I want to make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-16.
Okay, and I've got a motion on the floor to approve resolution 2025-16.
I'll second it.
I've got a second from Ms. Sue Taylor to approve. We need to read it all, I'm sorry. Was your motion to read resolution 2025-16?
Yes.
So I've got a motion to read resolution 2025-16 from Ms. Hadley. Sue, is that the same motion to read resolution 2025-16? Okay, be a voice vote, all in favor of reading resolution 2025-16, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to read resolution 2025-16. Resolution 2025-16, a resolution to establish the agenda format for city council meetings, amending resolution 2025-01. Whereas the city of Hardy, Arkansas desires to have orderly, civil, and productive meetings that come before the city council, and whereas ACA subsection 14-43-501 provides that the members of a governing body elected for each city shall in January assemble and organize the governing body, and whereas the City Council met on January 13th, 2025 and approved Resolution 2025-01, however, now wishes to adopt Resolution 2025-16 with revisions, and whereas the elected council members of the City of Hardy, Arkansas believe that it is in the best interest of the city to establish the following rules and regulations regarding the proceedings of the monthly city council meetings at Hardy, any committee or commission meetings, and the duties and responsibilities of the elected officials of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hardy, Arkansas that Section 1, Procedural Rules. The rules of procedure for transacting business at regular and special meetings of the City Council shall be the procedural rules for municipal officials as most recently published by the Arkansas Municipal League and any applicable Arkansas laws pertaining thereto. Section 2, City Council meetings. The City Council adopts the format presented below for conduct of regular meetings of the Hardy City Council: call to order, pledge of allegiance, invocation, council member roll call, approval of minutes, agenda review, reports, city financials, fire, police, public works, planning and zoning, Sharp County Regional Airport, Tri-County Solid Waste Disposal, Hardy A&P, mayor report, old business, new business, citizen commentary, and adjournment. City Council meeting agendas will be set prior to the meeting by the mayor or his or her designee. Anyone wishing to request an item of consideration to be placed on the agenda for a regular scheduled meeting should contact City Hall no later than 12 p.m. 10 days before the meeting takes place to request a business item to be added to the agenda for discussion. However, by a majority vote of the City Council, the agenda may be amended during agenda review to add an item of consideration to the agenda after the 10 days has passed. The meeting packet will be placed in the council members' designated city hall mailbox at 12 p.m. noon on Friday and be electronically delivered by 1 p.m. on the Friday before the regular meeting takes place. Citizen commentary that does not require council's immediate consideration will be allowed up to 3 minutes per speaker at the end of the meeting to address the council. The mayor and council have discretion to discontinue the commentary once the citizen's topic has been addressed or determined. The council will not be able to act on items that are not slated for business on the approved agenda. Citizens must sign up for commentary before the meeting has been called to order. Regular meetings shall be on the second Monday of each month, with meetings to begin at 6 p.m. and held at the Hardy Civic Center, 301 West Main Street. When a regular meeting falls on a recognized city holiday, the meeting will be on the third Monday of the month. Planning and Zoning Commission, P.E.G meetings shall be on the second Monday of the month, with meetings to begin at 5:30 p.m. and held at the Hardy Civic Center, 301 West Main Street, when business matters are required. When a regular P.E.G meeting falls on a recognized city holiday, the P.E.G meeting will be on the third Monday of the month when business matters are required. Other necessary changes to regular meeting dates, working and special meetings, and public hearings will be announced as needed. Passed and approved this blank day of blank 2025. That has been the reading of Resolution 2025-16, amending Resolution 2025-01 agenda formats. Do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2025-16?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-16.
Thank you. I've got a motion on the floor from Ms. Natalie Quintana Dubois to approve Resolution 2025-16 and a second from Ms. Laura Smith via voice vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 2025-16, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, Resolution 2025-16 passed. Thank you very much. That is what is left inside your packet. I believe we had a motion made to amend the agenda, so we have got two things. The first one that we have here is a memorandum of understanding that was sent to me this afternoon at 3 o'clock with very little time to review, but here it is in front of me, so let's take a look at it.
Okay, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's a memorandum of understanding between the A&P and the city concerning Pocket Park. So just for the, for the audience to be able to hear, the A&P, this is a memorandum of understanding between the City of Hardy and the Hardy Advertising and Promotion Commission regarding responsibilities of each party at the location, also known as Pocket Park. The City of Hardy will keep possession of the property at all times. The A&P will have responsibility of construction, design, already done for Entergy grant, grant writing, or funding for the park. The city will provide the $10,000 grant provided by Entergy for disbursement when needed, and the city will maintain the park after the project completion. So for those who in the audience that are unaware, the property that's located next to the leather shop, between the leather shop and Cross-Eyed Catfish, where the banners are now, that is called Pocket Park. And the A&P would like, the city has possession of it, but we would like to be able to get the project actually done. And with everything that's going on, and all of the, just recovering from the flood, it's going to be a while before the city would be able to do that project, to complete it. So anyway, we would like to do that for the citizens of Hardy and get moving on it. So this is just a very simple, that it would stay in possession of the city, and then we would complete the project and we could do the construction and everything of it, and pay for all of all the expenses. And then there's quite a bit of the stuff that's actually being donated. So we can begin construction as soon as this is, we've got, the memorandum of understanding is signed.
I'd really like to take this and fix some spelling errors and grammatical errors and be a little bit more specific.
We've actually done that, we just didn't have time to print it again before we passed it out, so. There was a couple of, a couple of spelling.
Just as much as you'd like time to review things, so would I, Ms. Kaufman.
Sure. That's fine.
So I'm going to take this document and put some notes on it, and I'll be glad to get it back to you here in a couple of days.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I feel about this, okay?
Sure, that'll be fine.
I think we're going the right direction. I think we definitely can work together. But I would love to work together and not be surprised at 3 p.m. today of when I would really love to have had some feedback on this. Okay.
May I say something?
If you may, ma'am.
You and I spoke about the pocket park last week,
A very good conversation.
so I did notify you that I was going to talk to the commission on Tuesday, which I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to let everyone know that you and I have spoken about
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
You had agreed that we can do you don't want to sign the title, no problem, we don't want the park. If that's the route we want to go, we will still continue with the project after the memorandum of understanding is taken care of.
I think that's ultimately where we'll go. I would just like to put some detail on this.
Sure.
Just for everybody, just clarifications.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, very good. Yes, thank you both. I think it's a great idea and I'm very excited. Okay, the next item that we have on here was a request to do a reappointment of an A&P commissioner. I believe the individual is Mr. John Treat. So can I be confirmed that the voting body of A&P has voted on this with a majority in favor vote?
Yes.
Reappointment? Do you
Yes.
know the exact position number as to where you're putting this person in the term that it expires?
She knows that, not me.
I don't have the,
If you go back to, I think the July meeting, Mr. Greider's last meeting, we went through all the terms.
June.
I've got all those records, I just wish I could have been prepared and could have brought them and also could have brought an oath in office to issue as well.
I've got,
I would like to be sure that her office does the oath of office because that's her responsibility to craft that document. If we could really work together, Ms. Kaufman, and get some of these things to me last week, we could have already had it printed in the agenda and we could have had all these things worked out before we got here. I'm not saying no to doing this, I'm just saying I would like to have known the position, the term that it expires, and before I issue an oath with my name on it, it is 100% correct. I'm just being very honest
Okay.
with you.
No,
That's all.
that's fine. His appointment, his term expires at the end of the month.
So we got a minute, and there's not a big deal if he is unexpired for a second and we do this next month? Because I would really like to confirm the position we're going to issue him an oath to take over.
Well, that would actually affect our meeting in October then, because the council meeting is after the commission meeting. So he won't be able to serve on the commission.
I guess really what we really just need, if the council can go ahead and approve our recommendation and we could do the swearing in, could we do the swearing in afterwards?
I don't want to issue an oath with my hand and my name on it if I don't know exactly what the term is.
You wouldn't have to do that. All we need is for the council to vote to approve that, and then.
But to what term? Jenny, if I had this stuff last week, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Okay, the term is for the next 4 years.
But we need to know what seat and exactly which one. Do you have that information, or can I go pull it up tomorrow? Can I issue an oath to John tomorrow?
It's the tourist-related business. I'm not sure exactly what the exact number is. Yes.
We don't need to swear him in today. He can always come in
Exactly.
at his leisure and get sworn in with all the details.
That's exactly right. So I'm curious, just because I'm trying to set a precedent here, did y'all advertise and ask for anybody, or are we just
We're just
voting?
renewing his term.
You're just renewing his term?
Yes.
Okay. So we're just renewing a term
That's right.
of what it was. Do you have any record of what seat or term?
Not with me.
Not with me, I don't have it either.
An email would be great.
Y'all, I understand it's a tourism-related position, I just don't know the term and the seat and the dates, and I want to be very clear on when we do this for the records.
That's it. To me, my opinion and suggestion would be to either approve or not approve, whatever the council decides, and then he can come in to get sworn at City Hall, or he can go to a judge and get sworn in as well. I'm saying this from experience, but that's what I had to do previously.
Sure.
And I'm happy to get, I've got that information in my AMP thing, I just don't have it
So
with me.
does the term expire at the end of the month or on October 1?
30th of September, from what I understand, Jeannie.
Excuse me?
It's like September 28th, that's why I've been bringing it tonight, because it was an oddball, it was such an oddball day.
If it is an odd day, why would they not do it at the end of the year? See why I want to have dates, so we can set a record, we're on the same page. Okay, I just wish I had the facts, y'all. I'm not trying to be difficult, I just
No,
wish I had the
and
facts.
you're right, we should have been better prepared with this, I agree.
I don't want to be embarrassed, and I don't want you all to be embarrassed. I think John's doing a great job, and I think this council will be glad to reappoint him. I just want to be accurate in what I'm doing. I don't mind to issue an oath later, but I would love for the motion to state the position and the term dates, just for clear transparency with everybody what the actual term is. Because when she goes and puts it in the minutes, it really ought to state what seat and term and dates, because that is the only record that we're going to have when 3 years from now, we're looking at doing this later. John, can you continue service and help them and be a nice guy for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we come back in October? Do y'all still have a quorum to conduct business?
No, there wasn't a quorum.
Yeah, we have a quorum. 1, 2, 3.
You need 4 of 7, right?
Yeah. We have
Okay, you got a quorum.
We have a quorum.
John, you're a great guy, I'm not giving you a hard time, I just want to get the facts right. Is that okay with council? Let's get the term correct?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm looking at both sides here, is that okay?
Yes.
Let's get the term right and do things, okay.
Absolutely.
So can we have a motion to table the appointment and confirmation of the A&P Commission?
Make a motion to table it until we know all the information.
Okay, and then we'll
To
come
move it
back.
until next month.
Yeah, we're gonna table to October and come back next month and be better prepared with facts before we walk in the room. Okay, so I've got a motion from Ms. Natalie to table that until the October meeting, which will be on the 3rd Monday in October. Is there a second to table the A&P Commissioner appointment? Okay, I've got a second from Ms. Laura Smith. If you have voice vote all in favor of tabling this, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're gonna wait to table that and do it in October. If you can take a note that we're gonna do that in October, and we're gonna look up the dates and the terms. While we're talking about A&P, just real quick, this is the 2nd month I've not had any minutes to put in the packet for A&P.
That was my fault.
This is 2
Um,
months in a row.
Our secretary was not there, and so normally she would be the one that would bring the minutes to the city, and I did
Okay, the
not.
month before that, we had to ask for them, and we got them, so that was good. It goes both ways. Okay, that is all we have under new business. We're going to go over to citizen commentary at this time, and we have got 5 people that have signed up for citizen commentary. Ms. Sharp is going to keep our timer here. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. You can use the podium up here in the front. She'll keep the time. Our first speaker, I believe, is Matt.
Yes.
Matt would like to talk about the Robin Hood lane maintenance. Is that right, sir?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
I've been,
Your last name, I'm sorry for the record.
Weedig,
Can you spell it for me?
W-E-D-I-G, Whiskey Echo Delta India Golf.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Weedy, go ahead.
What I wanted to bring up is, I apologize, I haven't been at the residence for 7 weeks, but I put a request in on the 29th of May, the city forum, to get the ditches mowed or knocked off, because there's so many blind curves on that road. So I've almost been sideswiped 2 or 3 people, and I'm probably almost sideswiped a couple other people myself. You can't see, I'm going around in corners, even at the posted speed limit. So it needs to be knocked down. Now, I believe early in the year,
I wrote another maintenance that came, or request, and they came and they used a brush hog. That only went about 3 inches off the side of the road because the ditches are too rough. So I don't know how it's gonna be done, but it's definitely a safety hazard, and the weeds now are about chest high, hanging out over the road. And there's a couple branches that are low enough that I can't bring the motor home down the road without knocking the air conditioners off, and someone needs to look at it.
Okay. Robin Hood Lane?
Yes, and the good news is, the request I put in to fix that rough crossing that got washed out, they actually came tonight and said they're gonna close it down. I thank the city for taking care of that, but it was dangerous. I'm just letting you know. Thank you.
Yes, I apologize for it, and we'll put this to them. Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Our next speaker, I believe this is Mr. John Treat. John, did you sign up?
Yeah. Yes, he's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Our next speaker is Jason Jackson as the POA representative.
So, we got a meeting coming up Saturday, and I'm just trying to get some more information. I know this has been as you say, we're beating a dead horse. Where are we at with the code enforcement? I know you'd mentioned kind of that we're looking at getting one, that we have a time that I can give.
On or about October 1st is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is representation. I mean, I don't know how many of y'all actually talk to y'all's constituents. Our guy's gone, but I know the POA members have reached out to our people. I know the rest of y'all's district, I don't know, but we don't feel like we're getting any representation at all. We go up there and we throw a fit and nothing happens. Kind of like this water deal, this should have been, y'all should have brought this for public hearing and y'all should have looked into it. I know the numbers can get doctored to make it look like, and we run into the same problem. I know you said we didn't do anything, but we got a new water tower, we put big pumps in. We've done a lot of work, but we've done it on a budget, and we made things work without killing people on their, we done like a $4 increase. I mean, y'all are absolutely gonna slaughter people on your bills. And a lot of that could have been, you could move some people over out of the sewer budgets into the general funds and start paying out of that to make your numbers look better. There's a lot of ways to make it look like you're not getting slaughtered on water and sewer by taking your general fund and moving it over and paying for that. I mean, there was no discussion on how to fix anything. It was just, let's just vote to double and kill everybody on the bills. And our LMI, we don't have a lot of rich people. The only reason our LMI looks bad is because no one was chasing people down for the census. And if they don't fill out the census, then it looks like they're above the LMI. But everyone in this town is broke. So, I mean, there's very few of us that have the money. So, I mean, this should have been a discussion that should have been brought up. When we done it, we done public hearings, we done the whole thing. And we done our best to not kill them. But this will absolutely, you're talking $250 water bills from, I mean, no one's gonna use 1,000 gallons. Everyone's gonna use 30, 40,000 gallons a month. So, I really think that y'all should have considered a lot more on having discussions and looking into it, having budget meetings. Y'all haven't, it just, we look at it and go, oh, we only got 4 months, so let's just leave it. But, I mean, y'all are way off on your budgets. There's no discussion, no nothing. So it's just, let's just vote raise, let's spend. And, I mean, there should be a lot more input from council than just vote yes. So that's our input. I mean, I'm just listening to, we got a meeting on Saturday, so, but yep, y'all are good.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Sally, your next speaker is
Actually, I spoke to Tricia earlier about the audits for the A&P, and I got the notification on Thursday. I went out of town, just drove in today, so I'm working on it.
Thank you, Bert.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is Mr. Jeff Monroe in regards to the budget.
Willow answered my question on the budget, okay? Where are we on our minutes?
They need to be put online, sir. They need to be put online. Thanks for the reminder. That is all we have for the citizen commentary. If you will, please note again, the next regular scheduled meeting is going to be October the 20th at 6 p.m. in this building. City Hall offices will be closed on Columbus Day in observation. We'll reopen the next day at 8:30 a.m. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We've got a motion on the floor from Natalie to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Do you? I had a second from Ms. Amy to adjourn.
Okay.
Via voice vote, all in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll be adjourned at 8:52 p.m.